So today we are looking at function attributes. Go ahead and throw your name on your note sheet. It is currently second hour. All right, what an attribute is it's a quality about something. So it's like a trait. If I would say some attributes of me are that I have brown hair and I wear glasses or contacts and I 5'3" So those are some attributes of me. So we are going to be looking at our graphs and we're going to be saying, okay, well, this is some x values of it. This is when we're increasing and decreasing. This is what our maximums and minimums are. These are what our x and y intercepts are. So we're going to be looking through and finding a bunch of attributes of our graph. Okay, so first thing that we're going to do is find f of x values. So this is us evaluating from a graph. To do that, this is exactly what we did back in 4.4. So what you guys did last Thursday. You're going to locate an x value and then identify a corresponding y value. So moving down to my first graph, we're going to do each thing on the first graph while we talk about it. So moving down to my first graph, I've got f of -5 is the first thing I want to find. So I start at 0, and I'm going to go left to -5 and find the corresponding value of my graph. At -5, where does my graph cross? 0. So f of -5 is 0. Okay, then f of -1. So I start at 0, 0, and I go left on my x-axis because my x value that I have is -1. What is my y value for when x is -1? Also 0. So it's kind of a coincidence that we picked the two zeros there. You guys will use those points in a second for another part of your answer. Okay, any questions right now? Okay, resuming my video. All right, next attribute we're going to look at, and this is probably the most challenging one of today. So this is the one that I would lock in and pay the most attention to, is when our graph is increasing and decreasing. So your graph is increasing when your y values increase, when you are reading from left to right. Your graph is decreasing when your y values decrease when you are reading from left to right. So that key there is left to right. So we all have to be on the same page. And since your graph goes from -infinity to +infinity, we're all going to go from left to right. So your graph might be going up and then down. It might go down and then up. It could just always be going up. It could always be going down. In the future, you will have graphs that go up and down and up and down. Today, we're just going to go one up and one down, or one down and one up, okay? So, I am going to give you a strategy that has worked for the last 10 years that I've taught this. Please have a little faith in me and do this instead of trying to not do this and just being confused out of your mind. Look at your graph. Put your pencil at the far left of it. Move your pencil along the graph. Am I going up or down? Okay. Keep moving your pencil. What do I eventually start doing? Going down. Okay. So watch if you need to. Watch my pen go up, 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 up. Down, 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 down. Any questions about that? Okay. Draw a vertical line. I like to just draw a dashed line where you switch from going up to down. So draw a vertical line there. That is your switching point. Okay. We switch from increasing to decreasing at when x equals -3. So I want you to label that as -3. Then your other two labels are always going to be -infinity on the left and positive infinity on the right. Because we always go from left to right, from negative infinity to positive infinity. This is me just kind of writing out what's happening. This is going to make it easier for me to answer on my blanks here in a second. Okay, remind me, when I start on the left here, am I increasing or decreasing here? Increasing. So I'm going up, 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 up. And then at -3, what do I start doing? Somebody other than John? Going down, 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 down. So then if you want to write the word, or just like INC right here, and then DEC right there, so you remember you're increasing and then decreasing. All right, now let's put that on our blanks. We are increasing from negative infinity to -3. So it's not what we're increasing to, it's where we're increasing. So it's our x values. We are decreasing from -3 to positive infinity. So if you label your graph, then you'll just have those and you can just put them on your blanks. Okay, any questions right now? All right. Next thing that we are going to look at is maximums and minimums then. We did maximums and minimums in 4.4 when I was done. You did them. So 4.4 again. Your maximum is a high y value and your minimum is a low y value. Looking at this graph down here, does it have a high point or a low point? A high point. So it's going to be right here. It's at that switching point. But now that we're talking about maxes and mins, we want to know the y value of that. So our maximum value is y equals 3. And then we're going to mark off minimum. You're not going to have both. You're either going to have one or the other, or sometimes neither. All right. Any questions there? Okay, last thing that we've got is y-intercepts and x-intercepts. Y-intercepts, which we did way back when we did slope-intercept form, is the point at which you cross the y-axis. We're only going to ever cross the y-axis once because all of these are functions. X-intercepts are the points at which you cross the x-axis. Sometimes we'll cross the x-axis more than once. So moving back down to my graph, my y-intercept on this one is down here. It's kind of tricky to see. I'm going to call it -4. I know it's not perfect. Let's call that -4. Okay, and then my x-intercepts, this is my x-axis. I cross the x-axis twice. What are the two places I cross the x-axis? So my y value is 0 when I cross the x-axis. So -5 right here and -1. So I'm going to put -5. You can either write the word and or use an and sign. You can put a comma. If you're going to use a comma, that's fine. Don't put parentheses around it because it's not an ordered pair. So -5 and -1. I'm like listing them. It's a list, not an ordered pair. Okay, because it's two separate points. So those are my x-intercepts. Which you'll notice, my x-intercepts happen to be these 2 points because when y equals 0, that's when my x-intercepts happen. Okay. Any questions about each of those little pieces? Okay. Flip this over then. The graph of f of x is shown on the graph below. Identify each key attribute. So this one, we are going to find f of 6. So f of 6, I go on my x-axis to 6, and I go up to my graph. My y value is 1. F of 4, I go on my x-axis to 4, my graph is right there. My y value is 0. Okay, for increasing and decreasing, I'm always going to start by labeling negative infinity and positive infinity from left to right. But on this graph, what is my graph doing the entire time? It's going up the entire time. It's never decreasing, it's always increasing. So that means on those lines, I can write that my graph is increasing from negative infinity to positive infinity. And then I can mark off the decreasing ones, because it's never decreasing. And make sure anytime you don't have an answer, you mark it off, so we can tell you acknowledge that there's not that thing, not that you skipped it. So just mark it off. Hey, since this one is always increasing, it doesn't have one set high point or one set low point. So you can mark off both maximum and minimum. Hey, y-intercepts, where do I cross the y-axis? -3-ish. It's off like by a hair, sorry. I can only make these graphs so perfect. And then I cross the x-axis just one time on this one at 4. Okay, any questions? Okay, then we've got one more to do. The graph of f of x is shown on the graph below. I don't know why I keep reading that. Identify each key attribute to the graph. So f of 5. So I'm going to go to where x equals 5. Actually, why don't you guys all go try to find f of 5 and f of -2, and then we'll check them together. Give you a chance to make sure that you know what's going on. So go do your evaluating. Okay, raise your hand if you can tell me what you got for f of 5. Okay, Roman, what'd you get? 4. So f of 5 is 4. Awesome. Sorry, Atlas, I know you know what's going on. I'm trying to see if anyone else knows what's going on. Raise your hand if you can tell me what we got for f of -2. And you go. 7. So we go over to -2, and then we go all the way up to the top of the graph. It's not labeled. We just have to know it's 7. We just have to be able to count. All right, cool. Then let's do our increasing and decreasing. So we are going to label negative infinity to positive infinity to start. I wrote an 8 instead of an infinity. Oops. I don't do that very often. All the mistakes I make. All right, and then we're going to look at our graph. It's going down, 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 and then up, up, up. So this is my switching point. What is my switching point? 3. Yes, you need the x value of your switching point. Oh, I'm off the screen there. So I switch at 3. So my graph is going down, down, down. So it is decreasing from negative infinity to 3. And then I start increasing from 3 to infinity. Okay. Point up if this graph has a maximum, point down if this graph has a minimum. Okay, this graph has a minimum. What is the minimum? 2. Okay, so this graph has a minimum at 2 right here. So minimum at y equals 2. No max. And then this graph has one y-intercept right here at 5. And it does not have any x-intercepts. Let me just mark that off. Hey, any questions right now? Okay, glue your notes into your notebook and then keep your notebook open to where you are, because we're about to glue something else into our notebook too. So let me stop this video. Bye, video.